Hello and welcome to Yorktown. Supervisor Ed Lachterman here. I'm joined by some very special guests at one of our outstanding hidden gems in the area, which is Teatown Reservation. Kevin, Emily, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us what you do at Teatown?
Okay, thanks, Ed, and thank you for having us. My name's Kevin Carter. I'm the executive director at Teatown. I've been there for 14 years, and yeah, it's a beautiful place, and we're proud that it's in Yorktown, the great town of Yorktown. And if you know it, then you know how beautiful it is, and if you don't, hopefully you'll learn more about it this morning.
Fantastic. My name is Emily Edmonds Langham. I am the Director of Education at Teatown Lake Reservation. I am about to hit my 4-year anniversary, so delighted to be here and thank you for having us.
It's really a pleasure, and we really enjoy having Teatown around. It's a great resource, and I think it's not utilized to its fullest extent from our residents. And one of the things I know that everyone loves going to coming up on it's February 7th
Sure is.
is Eagle Fest, and as you can see, I have my Eagle Fest shirt on.
We love to see the pride.
Yes, it's an outstanding activity, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about Eagle Fest with our audience here, and then we'll maybe move into some of the other things that are there for Teatown. So Eagle Fest, how many years? We know it's about eagles, and I think there are also different birds of prey that we talk about. So
Yeah.
let me throw it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Ed. So Eagle Fest this year is its 22nd year, and it began actually many, many years ago, before my time, at being held at the Teatown Preserve. But it got so big with so many people that it was pretty evident that we couldn't continue having it there. So it was moved to Croton Point Park, right on the Hudson River. And that was a really, I think, really important move because that's a great place to spot bald eagles in the wild, particularly when you have a really icy winter with the ice flows on the Hudson like we have now. It was a Teatown longtime Teatown volunteer. Some of the Yorktown residents may know him, Charlie Roberto. I like to refer to him as the Pied Piper of Teatown because he's been an avid naturalist and doing programs at Teatown since the 1980s. So he's seen a lot of changes, and he's one of those people that if you go out on a bird walk with him, you don't forget it. It stays with you. And he had seen a similar type of eagle event in Connecticut and said, Teatown, we should do this. We should bring Westchester County, northern Westchester, its own Eagle Fest. And that was kind of just the genesis of it, of how it started. But it's really grown to be something that people look forward to, and really one of the more beloved traditions that Westchester has. And during the winter, there's just not as much going on. It's not like in the summer where there's, so many festivals and concerts and outdoor events. The winter's a bit more challenging, as we've just experienced. But the great thing is, over the years, we've been able to refine the event and make it so that you can have a great day no matter what the temperature is. And the primary ingredient in doing that is heated tents. We will have heated tents, which is really key because people can enjoy what's inside and what's outside and get warm or stay warm. And we have a great slate of programming. I'd like ask my colleague Emily to take us through some of the programming, and also we'll take a look at some of the footage from past Eagle Fests.
Well, just to throw in, you mentioned the heated tents. As I remember, last year you had a big tent with a lot of. There were some vendors. There were a lot of different educational booths around, and that was quite enjoyable. I actually almost missed the the birds of prey that I wanted to go see in the other tent, but with the presentation tent, because there was so much to do there. And I do believe I recall seeing our former supervisor Aaron Bach flipping pancakes there.
Well, he flips pancakes a little bit later. He joins us for our pancake brunch, which is in March on the 21st. So come on out for that. But at Eagle Fest itself, not only are we bringing members of the public from Northern Westchester, even from New York City and beyond, to join us for this day of education and activism, but we also convene more than 25 collaborating environmental organizations. So there's lots of hands-on activities to do in our collaborator pavilion, in addition to attending lectures and live bird shows and getting out and taking a walk. So there are so many things to keep you busy all day long. There will also be a photo op with a bald eagle. Our old friend Bobby Horvath will be back with us with his eagle Montana, and you can carefully and respectfully take a photo with her and some of his other birds outside of our eaglet stage. But the shows on the big tent, on the big stage, will include Christine Perrine, who will be back with her eagle again, we hope. She's doing much better. This eagle has had major wing surgery, and so many of the birds that we see this day are animals that have gone through a rehabilitative process and are deemed non-releasable. So we get to have this up-close experience with these animals, but also learn about them and experience them in a much different way than we would be able to in the wild. So we're delighted that this Eagle Fest will have not one, but 2 eagles.
Wow.
Which is exciting. In addition to whoever ends up on the Hudson with the ice floes. Another talk that I wanted to highlight on the small stage, we have made a connection with Ben Nickley of the Berkshire Bird Observatory up in Massachusetts, who does bird banding and has been working on bringing the American kestrel back and doing some work in that space. So he'll be talking about kestrels, and friend Julie Brown from the Hawk Migration Association, so keeping your eyes on the skies during the fall when hawks are on the move across all of North America. So she'll be talking about hawk watches and raptor counts, which is a new topic for us, so we're excited to feature her. And then on the bird walk front, as Kevin said, dress warmly, bring your layers. You might want to shed them when you're in for a talk, but when you go out on a walk, we have a lot of wonderful birders from a number of different Audubon chapters that are joining us. Feminist Bird Club will be back up from New York City. We're also partnering with a new group from New York City this year, Alas Latinas, who will be offering 2 different Spanish language bird walks at 10:30 and 12:30. So we're really excited to have their support, in addition to a Spanish-speaking birder from Sawmill River Audubon. I will be leading alongside with some Teatown staff and other partners from Westchester County Parks, some family bird walks. So we are really hoping to get people out there, but please do come prepared for the weather. And then come on inside the tent and warm up and get some hot chocolate and visit our food trucks and warm up from the inside and the outside.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. And like I said, last year it was just amazing. And, even in every day, once you learn some things, I know we were, my wife and I were at a golf course.
Sure.
And there was a hawk flying around, and it sort of was flying very close to us. I was like, wow, I've never seen this. And then all of a sudden a little mole ran past us. He went into the sand trap, and he came out by the by the tall grass. And the hawk had moved to a tree in anticipation, I guess. Yep. And it just dropped down, and it's part of the food chain. It's part of nature and what they do. And it just picked up the mole and said, "See you guys later. I'm out for lunch."
Thanks for lunch. Yeah, exactly.
But it was literally as close as you are to me.
Yeah.
And I've really never seen that intimacy with the hawk.
We'll be presenting too with our birds. So Teatown is also home to some non-releasable live animals. And so we'll be talking about the nature of Hudson Valley wildlife and who's living in our backyard. So our dear friend Maddie, who actually designed your shirt and is a talented artist, she's also an excellent animal handler and educator. So she'll be presenting on Teatown's behalf at the start of the day and at the end of the day in the big tent, and just giving us a taste of these animals that we share our home with, right? That we share this area with, whether they're on Teatown's preserve or in everyone's backyard in this area. So I think
and what you said about the close and intimate experience, and really that's at the heart of what makes, I think, Eagle Fest so exciting for people, is you will get to see a bald eagle up close. You will get to see hawks up close. I mean, really close. So
also for the Harry Potter fans,
we've got a lot of owl presentations this year. So our friend Dr. Laura Jaworski is a rehabber, a falconer, and just all around wonderful person, and we're delighted to have her this year presenting on owls. But she's going to be able to talk to not only her work with local native species, but also she just got back from a trip to Africa where she was doing volunteer veterinary work. So incredible speaker. So we're really excited to have her too. So she's doing owls. Our friend Teddy Bradley of Sky Hunters in Flight is doing an owl presentation. So if you're here for the owls, we'll have you well covered.
They were pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're beautiful
year.
birds.
Yeah, very beautiful. And I actually recently had the first time in a while, because I hear them all the time.
Sure.
And because my dogs realized what tree it was, we have a puppy, and she was interested.
Oh.
She was looking at the tree, and I looked up and actually caught the owl for the first time.
Wow.
In years that I hear them in our area. So now I know which tree to look at.
You get a thrill when you see that, don't you?
Oh yeah.
It never ends, really.
And look, like the other day we had a fox in our yard. And
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I knew that because the dogs are going crazy. With one of our other dogs, who was very playful with other animals, as she unfortunately passed, we had a fox come to our door, our back door, like mewing at her, wanting her to come out and play. It was a small fox, and she wanted to go, but we, of course,
you're ready for your Disney Fox and Hound moment. Huh?
There you go. Exactly.
Wouldn't recommend it, but definitely it's magical.
She used to like find frogs, pick them up, and walk around with them, and put them down, and they'd hop away. She was very gentle with all, but no, just the amount of nature and what's there for us. And I think we're gonna, we're through with Eagle Fest per se coming up for this. Teatown is not just about Eagle Fest, and it is that tie to nature, that tie to our environment, and different programming that you guys are famous for, and I'm sure you want to talk about the new educational center that's going to be coming up. But where would you like to go from here on?
Well, I did just want to say that I think the beauty of Eagle Fest is that it allows us to tell a conservation success story, which I think is so rare. I think that there can be a lot of doom and gloom in the environmental space, and so it is really wonderful to be able to celebrate this bird that is our nation's icon, right? And a symbol of everything that we stand for, but also a symbol of the power of collective action, that people were able to come together and say, DDT, a chemical, is causing the decline of this bird, and we got it outlawed. And so this bird was able to spring back, is off the endangered species list, and then by protecting that bird, you're protecting the entire habitat, you're protecting everything else in that ecosystem and the food chain. And so to be able to say, here's something that we did, and we can see this bird now in a way that you were never able to before. I mean, in the last few years, I've tried to trick my mother into becoming a birder. It's kind of working, but I took her out. We were actually at Edith Reed Sanctuary in Rye, and was able to show her eagles for the first time consciously. She's like, I don't think I'd ever really seen one before. So in her lifetime, to be able to see this bird come back from the brink is incredible. And I think we're not sick of it yet, right? Like, it is still wonderful to see this majestic animal, even if, maybe it's more of a scavenger and not the powerful, fearsome hunter that it has this reputation for. But it's a feel-good thing. And so it's a great avenue in to starting to care about the environment and thinking about what you can do on behalf of other living things.
Yeah, and just before we exit Eagle Fest, I want to make sure we get the practical info in there, transportation, how to get
Yes.
there. So there's ample parking at Croton Point Park in partnership with Metro North, and there are shuttles running all day to what we call Eagle headquarters, which is right there on the river. So you can drive. It's probably for Yorktown residents, what, 15 minutes?
If that.
If that. But if people are coming up from the north, in partnership with Metro North, we've brought back the Eagle train. So people coming up from the city can board the 925 that leaves Grand Central, and there'll be a naturalist on board the train to bring to life for them the ecology and the birds of prey that are in our area. Hopefully train them to kind of eyes to the skies. So by the time they get to the event, they'll be really primed. And we also have one that's southbound from Poughkeepsie. So yeah, and some people come at 9 a.m. and stay the whole day. It's really up to you, but the heated tents are a key element. And as a reminder, as Emily said, definitely wear boots, especially if you want to go on some of those bird walks. One of the things that amazes me about the bird walks is that how passionate this subculture of people are that are birders. And we found a subsection of retired firefighters who are birders. So I mentioned Charlie Roberto earlier, but Bobby Horvath also. And Bobby has a bald eagle, and he'll bring his eagle, and it'll be available for people to get photos with. So that's how you get there. There will be food trucks. We have 3 food trucks, so you can have empanadas and wraps and barbecue. And if you have any questions or want to know more, you can visit our website, www.teatown.org. There's also a landing page just for Eagle Fest, teatown.org.eaglefest. Tickets are less expensive if you buy them online in advance of the event, and you can purchase those. The tickets online will be available through Wednesday, February 4th at 11:59 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you guys out at Eagle Fest.
Absolutely.
And I guess we'll talk a little bit about what Teatown does, and then I think we can pitch some other events that we have. Eagle Fest is by far our biggest community event. It's not uncommon to have 3,000 to 5,000 people there, but it really is. It's designed to get people thinking about the natural world, connecting themselves. It feels good. It's good for the body. It's good for the mind. We like them to visit the preserve. The Teatown Preserve is the largest community-supported nature preserve in Westchester County. We have 15 miles of trails that are open from dawn till dusk year-round, with an amazing variety of habitat. And so we're kind of a biodiversity hotspot in Westchester. You can visit forest, wetlands, meadows, habitat, and then there are programs for anyone that's interested in learning more. And we do that, through all kinds of different types of programs for schools, public programs for families, community events, after-school enrichment programs, scouts. And I think Emily would love to tell you about that. And she's the best positioned person to do it because she runs our education program.
So I do know from some of my visits, you guys were a great destination also during COVID.
Yes.
A lot of people came up on that, but I don't know if you had the full education and the future path of the education at that point. So I'd love to hear about some of those things. My daughter is very into that. Of course, she's a little older, going on 41. She's aged myself a little bit, but she loved this stuff as a kid. But more horses, but she had a bird, a small cockatiel, and we've always been bird people. So Emily, tell us how, like, with the kids with interest, what's there?
There are so many avenues in, and I would say that joining us for a public program where we might be featuring some of our live animals is a great way to get to see them. Teatown, and I'm sure Kevin can give us a much deeper dive on this in a moment, but we are under construction. Change is coming. We have begun a major renovation, historic renovation, and so much of our live animal collection that people have a deep and long and loving history of coming to visit is off view right now. Our live birds are temporarily held at our Cliffdale Farm site, so folks could come by and see them. The best place to see them right now is actually Eagle Fest because we'll have the birds there. But we have a full slate of public programs for children and for families and talks for adults. So you can come and experience education in the way that we do it in all of its forms soon. So if you haven't gotten your fill of birds and you're a grown-up and you want to learn about the perils of bird migration, we have a friend, Craig Repaz, coming from Lights Out, Connecticut on Saturday, January 31st at 1 in the afternoon to just talk about dark sky initiatives and the challenges that birds go through as 4 billion of them move during migration season and what we can do in our communities to make sure that they have safe passage. So we're really excited about that talk. There's some opportunities, although right now I'm thinking, oh man, this is going to be really cold. But we've got a night hike planned for a Galentine's Day hike. So get out with your girls on the trail on February 12th. So consider a hike, or if indoor things are more your speed, we've got a nature nerd game night on February 26th at 6 p.m. and we will try to put our own spin on Monopoly. One of our educators has made a custom kit, which we're really excited to put into use. Or if you've been looking for someone to play Wingspan with, we've got you covered. And then, as was already alluded to a little bit, but this is also sugaring season, so it is almost time, although it's still very cold, for the sap to start running. So we'll be seeing spring soon enough, and in preparation for that, we have a long tradition of holding our pancake brunch, which this year will have 4 seatings on March 21st. So Aaron Bach will be back with us flipping
He'll probably
pancakes.
Be, just for the record, he'll probably be at Eagle Fest
He will
too,
be as well.
because he and Phyllis
sure
have volunteered for Eagle Fest since the very beginning.
Yep.
Absolutely. So we can't get away from Aaron. He'll be busy. Yeah. We're keeping him busy on the grill, but he'll be there March 21st for pancake brunch. But we are taking a new approach to our sugaring programs this year because of our construction. So we're doing some programming at Cliffdale Farm around maple syrup and what that looks like, and getting to know your sugar maple. So we have a day of family programs on March 7th. And then on March 8th, we're going to look a little more deeply at a higher level for adults and slightly older folks to consider how climate change is impacting the sugaring season. So we're excited about that program as well. So that's March 8th. And more programs to come, just we haven't quite gotten them all on the web yet. So they're coming, but we always have a very busy calendar. So please do check out teatown.org/events for our full calendar of offerings.
Well, that's great. And I would recommend, do you make your own maple syrup too? Do you do the whole process?
When we can.
Yeah.
I will say, thinking about that climate change program, there's been a lot of change in this area. And if the thaw comes early or it doesn't last very long, we might not get enough of a run to do a full season. And because of construction, our sugar house is actually offline this year, so we won't be making any this year, much to our chagrin and disappointment, but we will still be teaching about the process and how it works, and we're always happy to highlight some other local producers. We've been partnering with White Oak Farm for a long time.
That was going to be my suggestion.
Yeah, no, they're wonderful.
So this year, and I must say I've fallen behind the 8 ball a little bit, but we're trying to put together something for Maple Weekend. If not, we could push later, but to do a cook-off contest.
Oh, fun.
For like maple syrup with it, and have like a category for restaurants, maybe a category for catering.
Sure.
So, you have your Uncle Giuseppe's and things like that, but utilizing maple syrup, and in particular, we could focus on local maple syrup, because White Oak Farms that you mentioned is the southernmost commercial maple syrup producer in New York State.
Yeah, when we've failed to produce, we buy from them. We're like, look, it's still supporting a local producer, and we're delighted to be able to put their product in front of our constituents because they do a wonderful job.
Yeah, they do. And but I would love to try to do something. And
Sure.
maybe we could. Do you have any buildings available right now, or is everything sort of shut down? Because I'm trying to think of the perfect place to host.
The carriage house is open and available, but the rest of the nature center is closed.
Okay, so let's talk
Yeah,
about that though,
sure.
offline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we definitely should. I think that's an interesting point because this historic construction that we have going on, but we appreciate the opportunity to share with people that we are still doing programs. So every day right now there's a school field trip at Teatown. The trails remain open, but we're having to get creative about other programs. And all for good reasons, so that in 2027 we're going to reemerge with a beautiful newly renovated campus, accessible, which was a big issue for us. Frankly, something that we knew we needed to do better in that area. But this walkable campus will mean wheelchairs, strollers, walkers. And which is really important when you have an intergenerational audience like Teatown.
Absolutely.
So that'll be a big change, and we're going to have these natural play areas, which will be really unique in the region. And then I think the new education building, which I know we've brought before the town a number of times. We're very excited about that.
Yeah, no, and I know that I've seen it in quite a few different things. I've seen it in fire safety and planning, in different areas, and I'll tell you, it looks outstanding. It's amazing, and really, I think will be a real jewel for not only for Teatown but for the local communities.
Yeah, we hope so.
And yeah, no, it really looks fantastic, and I think it's something that's really going to push forward to the next step for Teatown. And there's just so many great things, and partnering, as I suggested, partnering with like a White Oak Farm and their Maple Fest and different things with you, and please make sure, I know we spoke already about our communications departments working together, because it's great when you guys have the people there, but the real thing is it's people learning about our environment, people learning about our ecostructure, and it's so important, especially for nowadays. You have so many kids that have this interest. I'm definitely in a different old dog league compared to my daughter.
Sure.
And now she's sort of becoming, the old dog, and everyone else.
Whole new generation coming up.
And the things they think of are just not, they're not the same. We're wired differently because of our life experience, and it's wonderful though to see this. And sometimes the old dogs can learn a new trick, but you need to have the proper place to learn it, the proper people, and we really appreciate what Teatown does on all that.
And I will say we try to hook them young. So our summer camp still has spots. So please take a look on our website. But
what happens?
we
in
start
your
at
summer camp?
we start at age 4 and we go all the way to 14. It is a very non-competitive, just totally immersive, nature-based camp. And there's a lot of free exploration. They get out on the trails, they hike, they're catching frogs safely and learning about, how they have to be careful with them. But they're meeting all of our ambassador animals. They're learning about snakes, they're learning about birds, they're learning about plants and insects and all of these things that make their home in our area, in our region, and hopefully falling in love with those things so that they can grow up and maybe have an environmental career. We have actually good touch with a number of alumni of our programming who have gone on to work for the state DEC or, are in environmental consulting or doing engineering and all of these things, and they caught that bug at Teatown, and so we're just so happy to be able to plant those seeds that might come to fruition for people later. And we hope too to see that our campers who, as I said, they start when they're 4 and they can go all the way until they're 14, come back and join us as staff. So that's another thing. We are recruiting for summer camp staff. So if you want to spend your summer out in the woods with children, please let us know. We're looking for CITs. So if you've aged out of summer camp but are not yet ready to get paid, we'd love to have you in that capacity. Or join us as either a junior counselor or hiking and activity leader to lead the charge on what these activities look like, play games out on the trails, learn about many different science topics over the course of the summer. And then we'll also need an EMT because one of our other big goals is that this is fun, but it's also safe. So we're looking for all those.
The CIT program, or counselor and training program,
Yes.
is great because it gives a kid who's not old enough to really get out there and work yet an opportunity to see what that is. And I would have to assume that a CIT gets sort of a preferential placement in the hiring.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
As they
It's a
come
leg
up.
up. And there's all the schools have community service requirements. So it's
Get
really
your volunteer hours.
your volunteer
Yeah,
hours and learn something.
I do understand some of the schools have been cutting that requirement.
Really?
Yeah, but I do know in a lot of the religious institutions they have them, churches, synagogues. I'm sure even in the mosques.
Sure.
So it is a great opportunity, as you said. I know National Honor Society, there's a requirement for it.
Right.
But I think they've taken it out of the block for schools to have a minimum hours. But, still a lot of places, and I know look, if you're into all of this, that's just a great reason to volunteer.
And if you're looking to do it year-round, we also have a Teens in Teatown program, so you can join us in that capacity. There's monthly meetings and community building for young people who are in high school, and they also can join us either in sort of an education track and help out with all these public programs that I just mentioned, or join our stewardship team, or go out and do some trail monitoring and learn what the work of an environmental preserve looks like. So that's another avenue in for young people into our organization.
Yeah, no, and it's a great point. I remember my daughter, who ended up becoming an athletic trainer, but she was actually interested one time in forensic psychology.
Sure.
And I arranged to take her to we took her to the State Police Forensics Lab. And when she saw what the job was, she realized it was not for her. But
But you got a taste, right?
Right, and it's a great opportunity to go in and see, and especially for the environmentalist. There are quite a few. We deal with environmental consultants all the time in the town, and it's a heavy demand.
Absolutely.
So it is a great field if that is your interest. So
Yeah, what Emily said was really spot on, that we consider it a big part of our mission is to make sure that there are a lot of different avenues in, because it's not a one-size-fits-all where everybody is going to connect with nature in the same way. Some people really want to get out there hands-on. They are very excited by the prospect of helping build or repair a trail or a box bridge, and other people are really interested in the data. Some people just, are in awe of the animals. So the idea for us is that it doesn't matter what avenue you take, but everyone deserves to feel connected with nature. It's a life enriching feeling.
excellent point. Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways you can do that as an adult volunteer. You can join our amphibian monitoring project, where we partner with the state DEC to make sure that amphibians get across the road safely during spring migration. So that's a volunteer opportunity. You can join our Wildflower Island guide program. We have a 2-acre sort of preserve within the preserve that has beautiful lady slipper orchids and all kinds of other things, sort of model habitat for what our area would look like if there were not quite so many deer. And so there's an opportunity to learn about plants in that capacity and then lead tours for the public as part of Wildflower Island. You could join our nature guide program and teach the next generation of young people who are here on field trips with us. And so there's lots of ways to get involved if you're looking to do so.
Right, and you talk about it from an architectural. If I remember correctly, isn't there a little culvert that's being put in for the safe migration of the lizards and salamanders on the project? I
Yeah,
seem to
so
remember something about that.
interestingly, the way we activate that, because they don't cross at the same place every year, but it's a citizen science effort, and we have a staff member who every year, and they mobilize volunteers, and she actually just spoke about this at a staff meeting we had yesterday, that you really don't want to have 30 or 40 or 50 people at one location. What you really want is to have three.
Train them and get them out.
Yeah, exactly. But those kinds of things, it's just a process of letting people know that it's going on, and when you do it, it's pretty amazing. And then oftentimes you want to do it again. The thing that always consistently amazes me is meeting people who have grown up in this area and feel a lifelong connection to Teatown. We just had a longtime resident and friend pass away recently, Richard Coyne, Yorktown resident, and he, for years and years and years, is a sportsman and a nature enthusiast, and helped with our deer management program. But he also fed our eagle. For a while, we had a bald eagle griffin, and for years, he was a fisherman. He and his daughter would go and fish, and they would bring the fish to feed the eagle. And it was like, I think, one of the happiest things that he did in his life. And so we just learned that he passed, and we said, we're going to put that in our e-news, make sure people know that Richard was always there for us to feed the eagle. He was happy to do it. He was proud to do it. Yeah, those kinds of stories make us happy, because it just goes to show that sometimes the best part of a person, or from their perspective, is when they feel free, and that's often the way they feel when they're out in nature.
Yeah. Actually, just something clicked in my mind while you were talking about that, about Richard. I was at your gala this year, and Liz Feldman, I think Village of Ossining?
Yep.
Village of Ossining mayor, had taken a outstanding photograph of the northern lights
Yes.
over the lake.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Oh, it was unbelievable. So even from that point of view, the photography buff could go out.
Absolutely.
So much. It was just so cool. Matter of fact, I had a complimenter at our next. We do our supervisor mayor's meetings, and she, I was like, that was probably one of the most outstanding photos I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And we actually have a photo contest for Eagle Fest. If you visit the website, you can see the photos.
You can vote until, what's today?
Today's
Today's the 29th?
Today's the 29th.
Yeah.
Voting closes today. Get your votes in.
Yeah. But
I don't think they'll be able to get it because I don't think this airs
All right, well.
tonight.
amazing photos.
Till midnight.
Yeah, and these are people from all over the community, as you said. It's a whole other niche or subculture of people that just love, and they'll go out there and brave the elements for hours to get that amazing photo.
Yep.
It's pretty special, and we actually named the award that we give out after a gentleman named Ed Mertz. He was a scientist, an engineer, worked for a long time with IBM. He came to Teatown, and we just got to know him really well, and he was one of those avid nature photographers. So we try to always honor the people who are involved in Teatown and make them a part of our story. I think that's part of what distinguishes us as an organization, is that it really is the people. It's the fact that Aaron Bach still wants to be involved in what we do after all these years, or Charlie Roberto or Bobby Horvath. So I guess what we're trying to really ultimately convey is get involved in whatever way makes sense to you. Mm-hmm. You're welcome at Teatown. You can volunteer. You can attend our community events. You can take a hike. You can walk your dog, as long as your dog's on leash. This beautiful 15 miles of trails. And if you got a person that's got some snowshoes in your garage, you could break those out.
If it weren't the lead up to Eagle Fest, I really want to get out there and lead a public program on it. And I have a list. I have an alert list, so feel free to join the snowshoe alert list. But I think this week is going to be a tough one for me to pull that off.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
It's a little steep for snowshoes even.
Probably right now you need a snowmobile.
Post-holing, as they call it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, and it's a great point, because that is one thing that I have I noticed, and even being at the gala, being at Eagle Fest, it is a really great community where it is recognizing people, where the advances are not made under Teatown per se, but under the people of Teatown, and moving these programs forward, and people with passion, and it really gives a great outlet for that passion. You know, my history has me working with quite a few veteran organizations.
Right.
I'm with the Yorktown Lions and Sons of the American Legion, and my brother Vinny, and United for the Troops, who all do, because that's sort of my passion, and it gives a great outlet. And you know, for the hiker, the nature preservist, the bird watcher, the photographer. There's just so many things at Teatown, and even
Well, there's mental health benefits too, right, to being outside, and we're starting to learn so much more and having science back this up. So if it's a place for refuge for you, that's wonderful, and we want to be that for you. If it's a place for beauty and reflection, we want to be that for you. If it's a place for active, exercise and getting out on the trail with your dog or your family, we want to be that for you as well. So I think that there are so many ways that you can do that, and we're happy to be able to wear all those different hats.
Right.
And those organizations that you work with, I mean, that one of the things we're most excited about is that next year we'll be able to welcome those groups where we couldn't before. Right. And they'll be able to have a really amazing experience in the heart of Teatown with our wildlife loop and our internal campus, beautiful view up top that ramp to the top of the education building over the canopy. That's a big deal for us that we'll be able to welcome those groups because we just physically, our campus didn't allow it before.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, it's an experience there. I do like what you spoke about, the reflective, because I know I've gone there for meetings and different activities, and sometimes I just like to find a spot and sit off on the side and decompress,
Yes.
breathe, enjoy the aromas that of nature, and not so much the hiking, but
It doesn't matter.
That's
It's
okay.
for,
but
everybody chooses their own way.
exactly, a great place to hang out and just really relax and enjoy. And I like the fact you can bring your dogs. I didn't know that, so that might be a good outlet for ours. My lab loves going on walks, and the
Sure.
puppy, we have a mutt puppy we adopted. She just turned a year in November, but it was her year of being at home with
Sure.
us
Gotcha
just this
day, yeah.
past month, and it's I think that she'd love it. She'd love it, so we're definitely gonna have to look at that when the snow melts.
Yeah. We also try to make sure that some of our public programs are art focused as well, right? Because that's another really wonderful avenue into the natural world. Just thinking about scientific illustration, or just making you take a close look and observing and connecting in that way. So we really try to make sure that there are so many different kinds of things that we're doing, because I think art is such an important part of science as well.
Oh, absolutely, and art's just an important part of our world.
Absolutely.
And it's a way to express, and it's a way to portray things. So I highly agree. I know we're probably getting pretty close to the end of the show. So is there anything else that you wanted to talk about right now?
No, and just thank you so much, Ed, for inviting us on. Thank you for being a friend to Teatown and being interested in giving us the opportunity to share with the whole community what we're doing. And just allowing us to do that on a regular basis is really nice, because new people are moving here. Some people may not have known about us, and so it's important.
Why don't you give the address of Teatown?
Our address is 1600 Spring Valley Road. The mailing address is technically Ossining, New York, but our center of our campus is town of Yorktown. So our nature center and carriage house are in Yorktown. And yeah, we have, like I said, we're under construction, but you can still come and hike, walk your dogs, come to one of the public programs that Emily mentioned, including Pancake Brunch is a really fun one to bring the family to. So there'll be plenty to do throughout the year if you want to visit. Don't be scared or deterred if you drive by and you see some fencing,
yeah.
some construction fencing. But you'll also see some beautiful murals that are showing what's to come in the future for us. And And in the near term, if you got a nice warm jacket and boots, I'd love to see you at Eagle Fest.
Yeah. And I want to say, you're off of 134, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
What exit is that off the Taconic? Do you know the
11.
number?
Exit 11, and it's really, it's right off the Taconic. A lot of people, if they haven't been before, are always like, wow, this place is hidden away in this residential neighborhood. And it is. But once you get there, it kind of opens up. And you'll be, I think, pretty amazed that there's this amount of trails and this amount of nature in this place. So we welcome you to come and explore, and we'd love to see you. And you can certainly reach out to Emily or I. We're happy to meet new members of the community.
Fantastic, and we'll try to maybe put something up on our website as a link for community, community activity. So
Wonderful.
Terrific.
Definitely get that. Well, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Your Town, Yorktown. I hope you found this as educational as I did, and really encourage you to take advantage. Once again, you have on February 7th, Saturday, Eagle Fest over at Croton Point Park, and it is pretty cool. I love the birds, but I also like the shopping area part and talking to the different people, and especially, as I said, I'm a different breed. I'm an old dog, and you can really learn a lot about things. And maybe my mind's not made up 100% on things, but it definitely gives me a different perspective to look at and to learn from. And that's really what I believe you're trying to accomplish here. Turn a little bit at a time and get to where we need to get.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have a lot of wonderful collaborators. One other thing that I meant to say is you can also try to go out beyond headquarters and visit a viewing site. So we have a whole bunch of different spots up and down the Hudson. We've got partners at Wave Hill Gardens in the Bronx, at the Science Barge in Yonkers, and a couple other sites closer to main headquarters. You can fill out your passport and be entered into some nice prizes, including private tour of Wildflower Island, getting a nice pair of Zeiss binoculars. So there's ways of engaging with the event. Even if you don't make it to headquarters, you can still go visit these viewing sites, and there's a whole map of them on our Eagle Fest page, which is teatown.org/EagleFest.
Great.
Thank you so much, Ed.
Oh, no
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you,
Real
Kevin.
pleasure.
Emily, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see you our next episode of Your Town, Yorktown. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great day.